Today's episode is sponsored by Raul Rodriguez Law.
Welcome to this episode of the Leija Lounge. Today we want to talk about spirituality. We had a major event happen last week with Pope Francis passing, and everyone here is of different religion or practices differently. So we kind of wanted to go around the table and kind of see how spirituality has influenced our life or the role it plays in it, and also kind of covering what's going on right now in Catholicism. Right, just what are the steps? What's going on right now? What's happening? What can we look forward to in maybe a new pope? What did this pope do? A lot of these different things. Mark, you're very open with your spirituality, with your belief system, and that's great. What could you say you're experiencing right now? Not personally, but as a Catholic, as a person that's a man of faith. What can you share with us about what's been going on the last week and a half?
Yeah, well, I think everybody was kind of prepared for this anyway, right? He had been ill for a few months. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a surprise. I thought I heard one of the Cardinal Dolan from New York said, what a beautiful storybook ending this was, that the day after Easter Monday, he passes away. Mm-hmm. And so, I think, like, at least for myself, can't speak for all the Catholics out there, this has been a time of just prayer and reflection. There's a lot of things that Francis did for the Catholic Church, and a lot of positive things that he did. And I think that he brought back a lot of people that may have left. Mm-hmm. And, some people think that, maybe he went too far. Mm-hmm. Right, so we could talk a little bit about that.
Was he known as? I guess getting into it, was he known more as a progressive or a conservative? Me coming from maybe not the most Catholic background. I do have a Catholic background, but not practicing. Would you say that he was more of a progressive pope or more of a conservative?
No, he's definitely very progressive.
Progressive,
yeah. Mm. And I think he would. It's interesting when you hear and you read and you see the stories out there, and a lot of them have already come out. This past weekend we just had his funeral, right? Mm. Seen by billions of people around the globe. It was he was very progressive compared to where it's the church has been prior mm-hmm. to. But he was a man of the people, didn't really, wasn't a person that would be part of that whole hoopla, wearing all the regalia and the rings and the red shoes and stuff like that previous popes had worn. It was part of their custom. He was more of like, I'll take my simple shoes. I like them. They're kind of comfortable.
Very humble.
Well, very humble. Not only that, he was buried in a pine box.
Yes.
And exactly. And his plate on his, first of all, he wanted to, and I don't know the name, but he wanted to be buried where it was very simple, very small place.
Yeah, small.
And hardly anyone,
right.
Other popes don't get buried there. They get buried somewhere else. And all he wanted was on the plate was Francis. Nothing else.
That's it. Not to say this was
simple.
Super. Not to say Pope Francis. You guys went last year, right, mm-hmm. to Rome, and mm-hmm. you saw St. Peter's. I've been fortunate to go there, and those people that have gone there, it's amazing. Number one, yeah. You feel something when you walk in. I don't care if you don't have any faith, you will feel something when you're there in that presence. No question about that. And part of it is that they tell you these are where these other popes are buried.
Yeah.
This is where this person's buried, and so forth. And simple guy said, "No, I don't want to be buried there. Just put me on another church at Rome."
Yeah, that was so cool. Just him doing that, I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
that's-
Speaking on that of like them going to Rome and kind of seeing and walking and being amongst like that whole like in the Vatican and all that. I have a client who went shortly after you, and we were talking about it the other day, and he was saying, and he works for the church. He's a man of faith as well, and he was saying, man, this Pope passing kind of got me a little bit, like it got me emotional because I stood there, they had his body last week. Before they buried him and everything, I was standing there. I was standing at the feet at the Vatican. I was there. Like it's different when you know that he was right there. You know, like you're and again, I haven't been there, but I can only assume like you can speak of it. I remember Mom coming back saying this is just the most energetic thing she's felt.
Yeah, you feel it when you walk in, all the energy. You feel it.
Yeah, I can only imagine how people there are feeling. And just people around the world in general.
It's just like walking into our gym. You just feel that.
You just feel it.
energy.
You know what I mean? It's
Maybe a little bit different, Jay.
royal.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest energy you probably felt when you were there, when St. Peter's Basilica, prayer. I mean, you probably felt really good when you ran into a holy man himself, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
That's
So
right.
out of all places, you run
Yeah,
out of
he's walking right there with the guy from Metallica. The guitar player.
the guitar player from
on the
Lars
spot.
Ulrich.
Lars.
No, Lars is the drummer.
It was Lars. I'm sorry. It was
It was
Lars.
the drummer.
It was Lars, right? The drummer. Yeah.
Them two walking together like best friends.
Yeah.
And we stopped him and talked to him, and there was just no one else around. No one even noticed him. No one cared except us.
You must have been distracted from your heavy prayer when you looked and glanced.
When you lifted your
Are you
head.
sure these weren't the same guys that are in Times Square? That they're the actors. They're supposed to be
And I
Chris
think this
Rock
was
and Lars
post
Ulrich.
slap. Was this post slap?
It was after slap.
Yeah, post slap.
Post-slap, yeah.
Yeah, it was shortly after
It
that.
was like 4 weeks.
You sure it wasn't
After
brick
there's still a
brick
little-
lock?
Yeah.
He still had the face print right here.
Yeah.
The handprint across his face.
Is that Will Smith's autograph on his face?
Very cool guy though. He was very nice guy.
Yeah, but St. Peter's is just a beautiful, holy place, and the history that's there and the artwork. First of all, you go all over Italy, as you guys did. You could attest to this, but you go all over Rome and you just see the history there. It's amazing, man.
yeah.
Yeah, they were coming back saying we
thousands of
needed to go.
years
Like,
old.
It's
you been there?
crazy.
You went there?
Absolutely,
Nice.
we went. Yeah, we went all over Rome. Or all over Italy, really. But yeah, we toured. Check this out. So we take my mom for her 75th. My sister and I and Jeanette, and so we find out that there's a deal happening, and St. Peter's. It was a global prayer service they were having. They were going to be praying the Rosary for. I can't recall right now the name of the youth groups, but the Pope was going to be appearing, and they said, "Well, let's just go." We were jet lagged, man. Literally had no chance to catch up on our sleep. So we find this place we're supposed to go, and we actually found some seats, and person helped us out. We're sitting there, and they're reciting the Rosary, and this was John Paul, John Paul II.
I was gonna ask which one. Yeah.
John Paul II, he's there, right? And so he was just toward the end of John Paul's life as well too, and he's up in a wheelchair, and so but they're praying the Rosary, and about the third decade into the Rosary, man, I'm like starting to do this number, and my mom's hit me on the side, wake up, oh I'm here in St. Peter's, I can't do this, Jesus please help me, Jesus please help me.
Help me stay awake.
And I kept doing that number. Well, it finished, we heard the Pope speak, and then we have this guy that tells us, hey, would you guys like to meet the Pope?
Well,
I go,
you're not gonna say no to that.
no, you can't. So he walks us outside the
Just a
St.
random
Peter's.
guy came up to
It was
you
a
and said-
random guy. Well, we think he's part of it because he's got the St. Peter's badge or something like that on here.
There's another guy named Pope.
Yeah.
And so, but he's walking us through this dark area. And now I'm starting to think, wait a minute, man, are we going to get ambushed something
For
here.
sure.
I'm tired. My mom, she's 75. I mean, if I'm tired, dude, and I was running marathons at the time, so she's got to be like, and my sister and my wife, they're tired as well too. And I tell them, I said, guys, be prepared to run. I don't know what's going on, where we're going, but just be prepared for anything at this point. So we turned several, corners, doors, and we're going, and, see a few people there and think, okay, if something happens, we're screaming, we're yelling, right? And I could certainly take this guy, but I don't know if he's got other people and whatnot. Where's he leading us to? Well, sure as heck, he leads us into this room, and we walk in, and John Paul II is there, and I mean, we're a bit of a distance from him, and we didn't get a chance to say hi or shake his hand or anything like that. But I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And but anyway, the whole point is, man, St. Peter's is just a beautiful spot. And so for those people who haven't had a chance to go, you got to put that on your bucket list, man.
Yeah,
that and Lambeau Field.
That's funny. Yeah, so I guess there's a lot in the Catholic religion. I would just say Catholic religion, Christian religion, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot to, I guess. There's a lot of questions of where does it go from here, right? What's the next pope going to be like? Where does he take it? And does he follow up with what Francis was doing? Does he make a change in what was going on? That's interesting to me.
Keep opening doors.
Yeah,
for everyone.
and that's kind of interesting to me as not a guy who practices that, but it's kind of just there's a whole system here. It's kind of interesting in my opinion. We kind of have similar backgrounds of it. We've been through Catholic school.
Right.
Me and my brother went through Catholic school our entire life.
St. Philip's of Jesus.
St. Philip of Jesus. We went.
You had the Holy Spirit.
Shout out Probant and Bank Street.
Yeah,
You
East
had the
Lambert.
You would feel
East
the Holy
Lambert.
Spirit during the St. Philip of Jesus dances. You want to share with people what that was?
So I kind of had a little bad habit of dancing too close to the girls in my class, and the teachers.
How old were you at the time?
And the teacher.
Yeah, and the teachers. I must have been all of 9.
Yeah,
maybe.
right. Oh gosh.
And we had school dances, and this is back when you're discovering things and whatever. So teachers would come in between me and the girl I was dancing with, and they would say, "Make room for the Holy Spirit." And
yeah, that was a great.
yeah, that was always.
That's where we learned the Holy Spirit.
That's how I learned about the Holy Spirit, to be honest with you. But yeah, we've had upbringing through that. Middle school, St. Philip of Jesus, Antonian college prep for our high school. We went to church every Wednesday, right? Just about. I graduated from St. Mary's University, Marinus.
Shout out to St. Mary's.
Shout out to St. Mary's. So I'm well versed in. I always say I'm well versed in what I don't follow and what I don't believe in. It's not like I'm just choosing not to. I'm well versed in what I'm not believing in, which we've covered before. When I was 12 years old, I asked my mom, "Is it okay if I stop praying?" Because it didn't align with what I was believing at 12 years old, right? And she gave me the best answer probably a parent can ever give is just understand what you're saying no to, which was great. It wasn't a dumb answer. It wasn't to keep me dumb. It was to educate me, which was great. I feel educated on the subject. But all this stuff is just new to me, all this Pope stuff. Because like we were saying, like I was telling my client, how many days in the last 30 or so years has there not been a Pope, like a vacancy in there? And that's kind of a rare time, right? Like it's a different thing. Who knows? Like for us here, we may not see the depending on which Pope gets elected or gets we may not see another time like this. You never know, right? It could just be another 30 years, 40 years.
Yeah. This is our second change of Pope for us.
No, there's
Third?
been
no, or 3, right? Since we've been.
Well, no,
so
we
JP2
4.
JP2 came in the 70s.
Okay.
Well, and prior to that was John Paul. Then it was John Paul II. Do you remember when he came to San Antonio?
Yep.
I signed up, man.
What year was that? 80?
80 something. Yeah, I think I was still in high school. I think, but
Who drew a bigger crowd, Pope or
Canelo?
or Chavez Whitaker, 93?
oh, dude,
Charles
Pope.
Whitaker.
It's gotta go
More boxing fans in San Antonio.
This was before SeaWorld. So where SeaWorld is
That's
at,
right.
that's where they had the mass.
So this is
Still
what
right.
year?
Outdoor
This is
mass.
what
It
year?
was 500,000 people there, dude. 500,000, maybe more.
It's a good amount.
Yeah.
But this
year
was
was it?
It was organized by the Catholic the Archdiocese of San
79,
Antonio,
80,
in South
right?
Texas.
79, 80, 81, somewhere there.
87.
87? Yeah,
Oh, wow.
thanks,
That's-
Jason.
Yeah.
And so this is before SeaWorld, man. and they had this giant field, and they erected a massive stage, for the altar, and they needed volunteers. So I kind of volunteered at the time, and I remember I was in charge of this area of
Merch.
they had
charging for parking.
They had you remember the periscope, right? They had some guy had created this he called a poposcope or something like that, and it was a popescope, and it was like this little box that you look at, and it had a mirror up here, so you were above people,
So you could see people.
you could see the image of the altar or whatnot, but it was a massive area, and it was a major undertaking. But that time, he traveled around in his Pope mobile, and he was a young John Paul II, and
Fresh legs.
Yeah, full of vigor, and he went through every aisle in his Pope mobile, and I came within probably 50 feet of him at the time, and
Could you feel it?
Oh, without question.
Because you were saying
without question.
He's the what's the word?
Well, he's a saint now.
Yeah, but he like the
The
Pope
vicar of Christ.
on earth.
Right. The
And-
popes are the vicar of Christ.
Wow.
Yeah. Started
Yeah,
from
man. And can you imagine that? I was talking to the same client about this the other day. You get elected to be that.
Right.
How insane! That's so much weight. That's a lot. Like
a
you're the manifestation of that here on earth.
Right.
That's insane. That's like, and you're human. You're supposed to be.
Right.
How could you
With
not
all
feel
your
like?
faults and
How could you
everything.
not feel like a god? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well,
That's insane.
And
That's
you
just a
hear
lot.
stories of all the thousands of years of popes that. I mean, there've been some bad ones, man,
Okay.
doing some bad
how
stuff.
could you not? You know what I
And-
mean? Like,
Really, there happened.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, there's scandalous popes too, and all that existed. I mean, I think the thing about that is that they are human,
Yeah.
and we all of our faults, mistakes that we make and whatnot,
Well, I mean, not to make bad of things, but you see it every day. We just with everyone, but with priests and people like that are just doing bad things. Like
Bad
you said, they're
things.
human.
Right.
Unholy things.
Unholy, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, let's just be. I mean, that is a small percentage of the religious that do those type of things.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
majority of them are all good,
Yeah,
people.
of
and
course, yeah.
doing good things out there.
There's
But
bad
for the
people.
most part, there's been a lot of really great popes out there, right? But for us, I think we talked about. So it was John Paul I, John Paul II, then it was Benedict, and then it was Francis, and now. I
That's
guess
pretty
we'll
cool. In
find out here.
when I was in 4th grade, St. Philip's, where we watched it. We watched the whole. I'm gonna call it a draft. He got drafted first round.
First pick.
Benedict got
How about the
drafted
first pick?
Yeah, and you start seeing the smoke come out, and you see people cheer and all that. I'll never forget that moment. That was pretty cool. 'Cause
So when the smoke comes out, do they announce them right there?
it's
and
the
that-
white smoke.
Right. Yeah.
that's
So
when they
the
have made a decision.
Yeah.
Right. So what's going to happen here real soon in the coming days is that all of the cardinals are going to get together, and they have this thing called a conclave. And basically, they're shut down from no cell phones, nothing from the outside world to get influenced and whatnot. But all of them get together, and their job is to nominate, select from one of their own the person that'll be the next pope. And there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes, I'm sure, right? Some people that want the pope to be a little bit more conservative, or they want to go back to
Like politics almost.
Yeah.
There is.
Imagine
yeah.
the lobbying
There's a lot
there.
of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a.
There's a lot that goes on.
You're lobbying
There's
for
no
a
big
religion.
pharma putting money down on that one.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Who
What
knows?
are the odds on
know what?
those? What are the odds?
But-
There's a lot of
but-
odds. There's
yeah.
a lot of betting going on.
Right, but going back to the smoke. So if it's so they have to get 2/3 majority vote, right? So if they don't, somebody doesn't have that, then they burn all those ballots, the names that they wrote down. They burn them all, and if it's if they don't have 2/3 majority, then black smoke comes out. And they have several rounds of these. I think they do 2 or 3 votes a day. And then after the second day, they still don't have somebody. The third day, they take a day break, so they can kind of just,
Pray over it.
pray over it, more politic and whatever, right? Come to a consensus. And then once they select their pope, then, white smoke comes out. And then shortly after that, that's when the new pope makes his appearance.
How long could it take? How long do you think?
They said
What's the longest
as
it's been?
long as it needs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it
So it
needs.
could be forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Pope Francis was 24 hours.
Wow.
They should do it 2 minutes like the NBA draft.
Yeah, you got 2
No,
minutes
you
on
got
the
15
clock.
minutes. So it's 15 minutes. Or wait,
It's 2
no.
minutes. It's 2 minutes when
2
you hear the
minutes.
next team.
Yeah.
Then you hear
Is
that.
that
dun,
NBA?
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
Yeah.
They got 2 minutes.
You know, I
Adam
want to say
Silver
real
comes
quick,
out.
because you said how close you were to the Pope and all that, right? And you felt different.
Well, how close I was, right?
Yeah,
when at here in San Antonio, at the site.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, that feeling, and I'm being honest, to have been around someone that powerful was when I saw Ali.
Yeah. Wow.
They
That
carry him.
was like, and I was with him. I was hanging with him. I was in his room with his wife and the photographer, and I'm in there, and it's like, I felt like this guy is probably the most powerful man in the world,
Right.
just because of what he stood for, what he gave up,
What he represented.
what he represented, peace, everything. He was
Yeah.
that was the guy.
Hot take.
It
Hot
was
take.
crazy.
Hot take. You could probably say more people around the world could believe in Ali.
Yes.
over
Yeah.
the Pope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those things where that's the guy that crosses those religious lines and those even the generations.
Yeah, he made things happen. He gave up things. He put his life out in the line for. I mean, this guy did it all.
Yeah.
And all he wanted was peace, and
Yeah.
and he was that way with everyone, and he was friendly to everyone. He didn't have bodyguards. He didn't have anything. He was like they say. Remember that when they, not like Mayweather, but when they say Mayweather so. What's
Yeah,
that
so
saying?
so the whole saying was, it was Mike Tyson who said everyone thinks Mayweather believes he's this big guy, but he can't walk his kids to school, and Ali could. Mayweather can't walk amongst the people. How strong are you? Right, where Ali can walk anywhere and no one's gonna mess with him, and that's how strong he is, because he can walk his kids to
He's
school
loved by everyone.
if he wanted to.
He just
By
had that
everyone.
aura about him, right?
It
Just-
was crazy.
bet.
It's still. to
I've never
me,
felt that. Only time is when I look in the mirror. But
Yeah.
when you're with yourself,
fair.
by yourself.
fair. Like we were saying, kind of going back to our to our backgrounds in like Catholicism and all that. And right now, I'm in that spiritual journey myself. I've had a long time of just, I guess, not believing in something like that. I always say I believe in me. I have to make something happen. You know what I mean? I can look up or down or whatever, side to side, but I have to make something happen in my own self. So for me, a while back, I just really related to Buddhism. Right now, like, I'm a practicing person or anything, but I meditate when I can, and I try to empower myself. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of in that thing again where I'm trying to find that spiritual journey in myself. I feel like that was lacking a little bit. Like, it was just more of like, well, I need someone to turn to, but I turn to myself, but how can I better that? Or how can I strengthen myself up for those challenges that life may present? And I'm kind of going through that whole thing. So when this happened, I was just, it kind of sparked something in my brain to like, man, let's just talk about it. Like, let's just talk about our religious experiences. You know what I mean? I find yours interesting because I never know yours, right? You're just kind of, not like you have to air it out or anything like that, but having lived in your house, it's kind of, you and mom are different. Y'all are like yin and yang almost, right? Where it's like, well, mom's a little bit this way, and I think me coming into the family of my own mentality, coming into what I believe, kind of influenced things too, because it's not right or wrong.
It did.
But like, it's just me. Like, I always say, whenever somebody is of any religion, I always ask, was that what you were born in? Was that what you were raised into? Was that your first one? And they always say, like, usually, yeah, like, I was raised this. My parents believe this or whatever. And I always say, well, so when you're looking for a house, do you buy the first one you see? And they always say, of course not. I would never do that. So why did you do that with something so strong and foundational as religion, right? Like, how do you know that's the best house for you, right? If you don't question it, or if you don't look around the landscape or whatever, like, how do you know if you've never questioned it? You know what I mean? And in school, like, just, not to harp on anything, but we were raised in a school, like Catholic school, where you don't ask those questions. You know what I mean? Now things are very different. Things are there's answers, and they encourage you to ask questions and strengthen your faith and all that. But back then it was kind of like, well, we don't ask those questions. You just don't.
Yeah, this is what it is.
This is what it is, and
Yeah, get in line.
Yeah, get in line and follow suit.
Just have your faith.
Just have
and that's
faith.
it. Yeah.
Just have faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
But I think that's key right there.
it is.
Whatever that faith is.
And for me, I was talking to somebody about this today. I admire that so much, right? Not to be, for anybody who's Catholic or anything, or of any other religion, but to have, for lack of a better word, blind faith. That's something that I think is admirable, right? I'm very much a man of, if I don't see it, whatever, right? And that's to a fault. But at the same time, I'm also thinking like, man, blind faith, that's scary. Like, that's like vulnerable. You're giving it all up, right? That's faith. Just like, so I always say like, I wasn't gifted with that, with that, whatever. But it is admirable. It's something that I can be like, wow, like I'm not envious of it, but it's like, wow, you have something that I can't do. You know what I mean? I can't just do that. Yeah. And I think it's admirable in a way.
But it's different too. So why does it only have to be one religion? Why can't you have 2 or 3 religions that you believe in and you love and you think, wow, I love
you want to take some from each one.
Yeah, I love this. I love the meaning of this. I love the meaning of that. And why can't we combine them together? It's still the same God.
Well, you can.
Basically, right?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole thing is the perspective of everybody else, right? And
that's the thing.
That's what ruins it for people.
When you don't think like everyone else, they get upset.
That's what ruins it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And to be candid, there was a family member we have when I was kind of following my Buddhist journey, kind of trying to discover what worked for me. He had told me, you got to be careful with that. There's only one way to get to heaven, and that's through Jesus. And I said, well, you're assuming I want to go to heaven. Not everyone wants to. Like, not everyone wants to be with people like this. Like, you're judging me already. Like, you know what I mean? And I was kind of like a little bit, when I was younger, I was kind of a little bit more like putting up that fight. But, it was that little thing. I'm like, man, like, how do you know? There's one way, right? There's a lot of ways. There's 80 right answers here. Whatever works for you, works for you. And that's why I say I'm not a non-believer. I'm a believer. I believe you're right. I believe he's right. I believe I'm right. I believe he's right. I believe the viewer's right. I'm a believer in it.
Who are we to judge?
Who are we? Who am I? Who are you?
Well, we're all flawed, number one, right? Yeah. And I think that it's whether it is Buddha or something else. I mean, everyone always believes on a higher source and energy, something that's out there, right? And so I think that
because like with Buddhism, you don't believe in Buddha. You want to follow what he did.
You want to the teachings,
just
right?
like you're more like it's like Jesus Christ. Y'all are following what Jesus, how Jesus lived, right? The only thing is, with the thing that with me with Catholicism was more of like, well, they want you to follow like Jesus lived and walked how he walked, but they won't make you a god, right? Where with Buddhism, it's almost like, well, you can reach nirvana like he did. You just got to follow this thing, and you'll reach this nirvana state.
But it's
peace,
right. It's
right?
nirvana,
Similar, but
based upon what those teachings are,
which we're our own source of strength. Right. We're taught to not pray to ourselves, but the answer is in us somewhere, and we have to find it. Meditate on it. Move from a place of peace. Meditate on it, and the answer is in you, right? Just like similar, if you're praying, at some point the answer is going to come to you. It's in you, but then how you get it, and that's just the whole thing of it's more putting the ball in my court. You know what I mean? And that's what I like. I kind of like that element of it. And I think that's what you like too. I mean, growing up in a boxing...
I think that's what we're all attracted to when you would talk about it all the time was like, it's you know what I mean? Yeah. And kind of makes you more proactive into being more engaging.
Yeah, and...
in your faith.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, you could say the same thing with prayer, right? With community. Right. That does the same thing, you know? There is no right or wrong, depending on how you want to move.
I think everybody has got their own spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And, James, you're right. Who am I to choose? Who am I to say? Everybody walks their own walk. Mm-hmm. And we all have that inner voice. And you know what? Sometimes it may take somebody many, many years, many, many decades to ultimately come back to where they started out. Mm-hmm. That's your journey. Yep. That's okay too, right?
When you're in an auto accident, you shouldn't be concerned with legal runarounds, just real advice. You deserve an attorney ready to work for you, an attorney that won't back down.
I've lost loved ones due to the negligence of others. If you or a loved one has been injured in an auto accident, I want to be there for you.
Raul B. Rodriguez and his team care about ensuring you and your family are represented, whether on the road or in the workplace. Raul is real, and Raul won't back down. Call 210-899-0300 to schedule a free consultation.
That's almost like in politics. Like I'm Democrat or Republican, whichever. But if you're the other, man, we cannot be friends.
Yeah.
Because you don't think like I do.
And that stinks right
no,
now.
you don't think like I do. And I can't have you as a friend.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
That's
stupid,
weird.
right? But
Yeah.
It's
people
crazy.
are like that.
Yeah.
People do that. People are. They do the same thing with religion. Oh, you're not Catholic? Oh no. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Come
Right.
on. Is that what I tell people? Like, is that what your God teaches you? Is
Yeah.
to only pick your own, and you can't be with other people. You can't. I say, oh my God, I don't. If that's the case, we shouldn't be friends.
That's right.
Because I can't have a friend
Or
like
not
you.
only that, it's not even if they try to approach you and change your perspective. It's, oh, I don't share the same religion you do. You're viewing me as wrong.
Yeah.
When I'm viewing you as it's okay.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Like we always say, like if we were on the Eastern Hemisphere or whatever, right? We would be thinking totally different.
Yeah.
They'd be looking at us like, man, they can do what they want. We're over here looking at them like, I think they're wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the hard part about
Right.
the religion part is you want to be inclusive in it, right? That's why I say everyone's right. Who am I to say you're wrong?
That's right. Yeah. I think, again, everybody walks their own journey, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, let's look at, you know, I think any kind of faith that you have, any kind of religion that you kind of follow, you know, with the exception of, I mean, then you got the far extreme, right? The ISIS folks who are totally want to take it. They read the Quran a certain way, and it's
Because even then, when I was like looking at that, like you know, I could be very wrong, but you know, growing up, they're telling you, well, you know, ISIS and like all these people who believe in this, you know, they're killing themselves, committing suicide for this, for the next life. They're thinking.
they're closer to God.
They're closer to God. They're giving themselves they're giving their life for this point, right?
Right.
But I see that with Catholicism as well. Y'all are making, not y'all, but people are making moves here for the next world, right? And I'm thinking, well, it's kind of the same thing. I'm choosing to be here. I don't know what's next, so I need to be here. You know what I mean? I'm making the right move for just to be, because it's the right move, instead of being motivated by something I'm going to get later.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's almost driven in the same way where, well, I'm just here. I'm just doing things because it's the right move, as opposed to, well, I'm going to do this because I'm going to heaven and I need to. And you don't know, like you know.
You don't know, but I think that either way, it's the right move is to just be kind to everybody,
for sure,
right? Respect others and just put out that positive energy, man, and not be negative, not be nasty to one another, you know. And we
Just
talked a
for
little bit about that.
For a different belief, right? Just for a different belief.
I don't subscribe to that. But I know we talked about, we have some friends that have their politics a certain way, and they are adamant about it, and they keep trying to preach it to you.
Yeah.
And my way's the right way.
It's like us looking at Southpaw is different, or like us looking at Philly Shell different. Like they fight in a Philly Shell. I don't know about you, or whatever. I'm like, nah, he could win. Like, who knows, right? It depends on that's the style he prefers. That's what works for him.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just wish that the religion and just like everyone follow the religion of love.
Yeah.
Right now people follow the religion. Not now. I'm just saying everyone's like you, Mark. The way you are religiously, I love that. I love the way you are. I love the way you don't judge. You don't talk bad about people.
Right.
You're the perfect guy.
Very open-minded.
Yeah, you're open-minded
Very
as well.
much so.
That's
Very
perfect.
much so.
But there's people that like politics or whatever, they hate because you're not you don't think like me. How dare you not think like me?
Yeah.
I can't be your friend.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still parents that are raising their kid to be racist. It's the same. It's just you can't eliminate it all the way. It's just even just thinking they're wrong and you're right. We're right. They're wrong. There's just there's no. You can't get everybody. You can't reach everybody on that playing field. That's why even for us, we can't be so closed-minded to think differently about them. They're still human too. You know what I mean? And we can't exclude them for being so judgmental towards us. We're accepting as well. I understand.
Yeah. How do you deal with it when someone is preaching to you, right? Well, James, let me tell you about
Jesus Christ.
yes. Yeah, let me tell you, this is the right way because, it teaches us this and this is a scripture for that.
I've had that a lot of times.
Yeah. And how do you deal with that?
I think it's great. I don't have to deal with it.
So
It's
you
great.
just you listen to him, you say,
Oh
thank
yeah.
you.
I want to hear your story. Tell me.
Yeah.
Share with me.
Right.
That's great, bro. I love that.
Yeah. Awesome.
You're telling me why I should cut my own grass.
Right.
That's great. I respect it.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna hire this guy.
Right.
It's great.
It's like he says, he doesn't. He's right. You're right. You're right. You're right. We're all right.
I have time to hear you. I have time to hear what you believe.
Right.
I'm not gonna judge you on it. I don't have to subscribe, like you said. I don't have to subscribe to your newsletter. I'll read it.
Right.
Maybe that's all you want. Okay, great. You don't know what I'm thinking. I can tell you, yeah, bro, you're right. You know what I mean? Maybe let me go think about that. I'll never see you again.
I'll be back next week.
Yeah, you know, like, great. You know what I mean? Like, when I was at Baylor, my first semester, we would have guys come up to the dorm and knock on our door and tell us the good word, spread the good word.
Sure, right.
And I would invite them in, and I knew if I close the door on this guy, if I exclude this guy, I'm the same as what I don't believe in. I'm just as close-minded. I want to be accepting. I'm going to hear you out, right? Let me hear you. I may learn something from you. I don't have to subscribe, but I might learn something here.
Right.
I would ask for the same in response. Like, I would ask for the same respect. But
Did you ever get in dialogue with him?
oh yeah,
And what was there? Like,
because again, I'm coming from a background of I've been reading the Bible. I've gone to church every Wednesday. Like, I understand what I don't believe in. So a lot of people, I guess, when people confront people on religion, they may not be as educated or as well versed in it as maybe I was at that time, right? So I knew what he was telling me. I knew the belief system. But at the end of the day, no matter what, the bottom line is, the foundation of it is, you got to have faith.
Right.
No matter what. I'm going to ask so many questions that at the end of it, you're going to say, well, you just got to believe it. And that's kind of the whole argument I've always reached to. Like, at the end of it, I can go into a dialogue and maybe question, pop this balloon. But at the end of it all, it's just, they'll always say, you just got to have faith. And that's what I realized. I just don't have that blind faith. You know what I mean? I just don't. Back to what I was saying about growing up in a fight family, you know, there's a certain point of, like, when you watch boxing, they always thank God. They always do this stuff. And I'm always thinking, well, the other guy's religious too, and he prays too. Like, what was the missing ingredient here? Like, what was he walked in with a rosary in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't. How did you win? Or what's the other missing factor there that allowed you to win and him not? Did you pray more? What happened? Why are you thanking God?
Please, God.
Let me kick this guy's
guy
ass.
so bad. Knock him out.
Let me beat him
Doesn't
up,
work
you
that
know,
way.
whatever. So I was always questioned about that because he used to do that, you know, but at the same time I would ask him, like, I don't see you go to church. Like, I don't see you pray. Like, so there was always that element of, well, it is hard work. It is something that's in your court. There is some element of control that you have as well. You know what I mean? And I think at a young age, I just connected to that one. And that was the one where I was like, okay, I got to make something happen, or I have to do it, right? I can sit and pray. I can even sit and meditate. At the end of the day, I got to get up and move. And I think that's the whole moving part. The moving part is, where am I moving from? I'm moving from this place of peace, from this place of harmony. And maybe that's what prayer does, right? You let it all go, and now you're able to move. And it's the same thing with...
So your spiritual journey right now is that of discovery.
Well, I've already discovered it. I think more is more follow through. So, like, the client that I was talking to this about, he was saying, so you're on this spiritual journey of trying to figure yourself out. No, I figured it out. I already know what I'm saying no to. I know what I'm not believing in. I know what I'm not subscribing in, right? But I want to strengthen what I do subscribe in. I've been subscribed here, but I haven't been watching the episodes. I need to watch the episodes. I need to go back and, you know, I want to learn more, right, about this.
Get the road work in.
Yeah, I got to get back and train myself this way, as opposed to, well, let me open the door again to everything else. No, I know what works for me. I just got to strengthen this. I got to strengthen my foundation here. So that's kind of what I'm on right now. You know what I mean? But it was interesting in the whole Pope passing and us having a spiritual
Brings up
talk.
a lot of conversation.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
I mean,
It's wide open.
wide open, man.
That's why I was like, I was raised Catholic, wasn't practicing Catholic, but raised Catholic. Obviously, Christmas, certain times of the year, go to church. Not that
Easter,
many.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But my mom was always, Catholic, and now she goes to church. She didn't go to church at all during that time, but she did like we did, occasionally. And now she's there every Sunday or every Saturday or Sunday. She religiously at church all the time, every weekend, and she's great. She's
Praying
happy.
for everybody.
Praying for everyone, and praying for us, and that's great. But I just wasn't a practicing Catholic. And what I like to find out is that I'm going to do everything myself. I'm going to believe they want us to believe in a lot of stuff. I want to believe in myself first. I'm going to believe in what I can do and how I'm going to work, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to be successful. I'm going to believe in myself first. And if there's a God out there and all that, I'm good. I'm doing my thing. I'm good to people. I'm whatever I got. I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
If someone needs help, help them out.
Yes.
Help them out. I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
At least I think that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess it's just why are people moving? What allows you to move forward? What are you moving forward with, right? So they always say move with faith, right? Well, that's great. I believe in myself. Like I'm faithful in my, if I go to school, I'm gonna learn more. Then I'm able to do more. That's me. You know what I mean? And that's just putting the ball in my corner. And you can always say, well, hey, God's allowing you to be alive, and He's He gave you the strength to wake up, and He gave you the strength to give this. Great, I'll believe it. Whatever you want, pray for me. I'm gonna take all your prayers. I believe it all. It's cool. You know what I mean? I'm not closing the door on anything. Yeah. But
I just think we're all right. We're all right.
Yeah.
Because who are we to say who's wrong, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Like,
At the end of the day, we don't know. It goes down to that faith.
Yeah.
Whatever that faith is for you.
Like at the end of the day, you've been going to church. I'm assuming your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Very God-fearing man, very very noble in that.
Right.
You still don't know.
Yeah.
And you just have to have faith, right?
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Like I still don't know. I have the same answer as you do.
Yeah.
But it's just how do you choose to move, and what motivates you to be nice? What motivates you to help out, your fellow man? And that's just kind of it. I always say there's a lot of guys in jail that convert to, Christianity or religion while there because they need somebody, right? They need to know somebody's there listening. I have nobody here. I'm gonna pray to this guy who's gonna be here, who's with me through this hard time, right? You're gonna use it how you need it, you're gonna reach for something you need, and I don't know. I just felt like when I was younger, I needed more belief in myself, and that's what I got it. That's where I got it from. Is that Buddhist thought? It's more of a philosophy than a religion to me.
Yeah.
So I kind of just felt well, the ball's in my court. I saw him do something. What am I gonna do? And that's kind of just the house that you're raised in. That's your first teacher. You know what I mean? He was my first teacher. Is what I saw as in a man. So I'm trying to figure out what aligns here.
Yeah.
But can't assume everyone's as maybe open-minded into that thought. Some parents aren't as open-minded to their kids just discovering different things and going about it different ways, but it could be beneficial.
Right.
I always say ask the hard questions. Ask yourself the question. What if you just going through the motions?
Right.
Would you rather me be a Catholic going through the motions or being Buddhist and going head on into it? You know what I mean? There's just different ways to think about it.
I'm more of you be you, and whatever that spiritual journey is for you, as long as you have faith, or you're just at the end of the day, it's being good, do good, man. Love all, right? And
Love
just
everybody.
and just
Yeah. Even
Love
there's
your neighbor.
I'll get into a hot topic. I know I'm talking a lot, but it's my podcast, right?
That's right.
There was there's always a thing of, I have 2 kids, 2 daughters who are not baptized. And that's a big thing in a Mexican family. It's what? Really? Why not? And it's well, that's me, even if I were to, if you were to baptize your kids, you're putting something on them that they haven't made a choice of. That's your choice to do that, right? To include them into this community of, I was baptized and I didn't even know it. I didn't have a choice, as most people were, right? But looking back at it now, I'm kind of well, it doesn't matter because it's just it's a sacrament. It's just a thing that happened, right? But it's also a thing of somebody in that Catholic faith could say, well, no, you're a part of me, bro. You're here. You're, whether you like it or not, you got that stamp. You got that tattooed on you. I know you can't see it, but I can. And it's one of those things where I didn't even make that choice. I didn't choose to do that, So even with my kids right now, I'm not putting anything on them. You figure it out. Like you're saying, everyone has their own way. Everyone has their own belief system. So figure it out when you're ready to. It's not meant for you.
Are
right
you gonna
now,
choose private school or public school for your kids?
I've already done private. Public school.
Oh, public. That's right.
But I've already gone here into public, but it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I'm not gonna put anything into her, right? Like I can be here for her to ask questions. I have my own beliefs, but I don't know what you're gonna choose to believe, and it's wrong of me to put this on you when you don't understand it.
Are you gonna raise a Democrat or Republican?
That's the whole thing. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, are you UT or are you A&M?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, this is a UT house. Well, what if, you know, it's like, you know, I can't do that.
I'm going to Notre Dame.
Yeah, you know, like, and there's not wrong if you do that. Like, I can't do that to my kids. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm not saying it's right or wrong if you did that. The majority of people here are thinking I'm wrong. You know, and it doesn't matter to me. But at the same time, it's like, well, you go about it how you want to go about it. Like, and that's what I'm thinking. Like, you know, you've been doing this your whole life, but you probably, like I always say, you can't even think there's not a God or not a Lord because you didn't freely walk in that room.
Right.
You don't know where the door is to the exit.
Right.
Right? Like,
well, you always have that choice. You can always just turn it off.
But do you? Can you? Can you?
Me personally, where I'm at, no.
Exactly.
Because I just no.
And that's the thing where, like, you know.
But I do have that choice. We all have that choice. You know, that source, that energy, God, whatever you want to call it, gives you that ability of free will. I want to go out there and, you know, do something bad or that.
Yeah, we all have the ability to do something
will,
bad.
right?
But can you, like John Lennon said, can you picture no religion? Like, can you picture that? Can you imagine that? Do you know what that feels like? Like, if you walked into this studio through this door, so you know where the exit is, but you got placed in a room when you were young that you don't know where the exit's at. You didn't even freely walk in the room. So how do you know where the exit's at? If you wanted to go see what other things were. If you wanted to go see another house to see if it was good or better than this one, how do you exit?
I think through like people like myself, you know, in your youth, teenager, young adult, you always have those choices to kind of do that. You know,
I would say you do.
You could just turn it off and say no, but there's people that, my whole life I've been doing it a certain way, and
or your parents have done it.
It's kind of like your choice. Remember, you were raised Catholic,
but I would say my raised was different than maybe Mark's. Yeah. Right. Like,
well, maybe, but at, you know, when you got into that certain age, you say, I want to discover something else, or I want to.
That was me trying to find another door. You know what I mean? Where I knew the way out because it's not like I really walked in. We didn't really run into that room. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, well, I know the door is here because I see my dad with the door there too, you know? So it's more about self-discovery on my end as opposed to, well, my whole family's here, so I guess I should be here. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's one of those situations where I'm just thinking, you know, if I wanted to open up my mind, if you wanted to, like even the person here who's looking at me saying I'm so wrong, could you find the door that maybe I'm not? Yeah. You know what I mean? Could you open your mind a little bit more to maybe how I'm not?
Okay, so maybe this summer we all need to go Costa Rica and do ayahuasca.
Ooh, man. You hear about how that affects you?
I've never heard of that.
You hear about how that affects you? You want to go through that?
Oh, is that drink?
Well, a lot of people
that
go
ain't no
to
lighting
it.
a joint.
No, it's a self-discovery thing for a lot of folks, man.
Mike Tyson did that, right? Mike Tyson did that.
Many times.
He does it all.
That's like I just hear that puts you right there. Like, it puts you in that moment. There's no escape. Like, and your body is betraying you.
It's like an auto reset button.
Yeah.
Your life. You're like an auto reset life button.
Yeah. That's what I hear. I hear it's just like an insane trip. Like, it's just.
But that's one where you just give it up. You
give up.
Yeah.
For me, not to keep going about me, but I feel like in those moments when you take ayahuasca and you go through this deep journey and you find yourself and all that, it's called an ego death, right? Like something about you is left there, right? Like, you're kind of new. Like, you're new when you come back. It's an ego death. You think you're going to die in that moment. You think like, whoa, I'm not in control, like just whatever. And then when you come back to your senses, you're like, whoa, I have another chance at this, right? I have another chance to live this life and to walk better this time because I'm going to leave whatever past, you know.
That's scary.
Things I had, I'm leaving them there because that part of me died. I'm not scared of that anymore because I've come out on the other side. Yeah. They say that's what ayahuasca does to you, you know. Kind of like Katy Perry going up and coming back saying she has another chance at life.
I felt that too when Azul Nelson threw that overhand right, and I looked up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, and you get up and you're like, damn, okay, like I'm here.
I got up. Wow. Okay, let's go.
And you know, that's an ego. I think I've experienced that. I feel like I've experienced that before, where I'm just like, whoa, I'm not in control. I'm out of my body. And when I came back, he was there. And then when I came back, I was just like, whoa. Like, the funny thing was, that day it was my first daughter's gender reveal, and I just was tripping off my ass. And it took me somewhere I didn't want to go. I had no control. I came face to face with a lot of things that I was dealing with at that time. 8 years ago.
We were there. I was there.
You were all there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely feel like a part of me died then. And when I woke up the next day, I'm this guy who's doing all these things. And it was
like a reset for you, too,
It was a reset.
right?
That's what he said. It's a reset. It was just like I got rid of so much shit that I didn't have to carry.
Mm-hmm.
And
You inhaled too much of that pink powder that blasted up in the sky.
that's that strawberry jet fuel.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? I think that, you know, everyone should go through that, but that's how you open the door. That's how you find the door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those are those interactions where I'm saying, well, you don't know what you're going to see. Right? Where, you know, I don't know either, but you're opening the door to something. That's what I'm saying. That's self-discovery. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe you.
Mark does that. The next day he's a monk.
Chinese
monk.
You can hear that music.
He's practicing karate now. That's so he's a
Dean, I see this.
Yeah.
Come here, grasshopper.
Yeah. Come here, young grasshopper.
Speaking of God, though, and all this, John Cena. You know? Yeah, he became a legend, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago on.
They call him Blind Faith too. You can't see him.
Blind Faith. Just by looking at your shirt, Mark, did you catch any Wrestlemania?
I did second night, missed the first night, but I caught Cena winning his 17th.
17.
Yeah.
He won 17. What?
He beat Ric Flair
He
16.
beat Ric Flair.
Ric Flair's record. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, so here's the thing.
That's when you know wrestling's fake.
So
when
just
they beat Ric
hearing
Flair.
this, just hearing this, okay?
Is it really fake?
It's almost like a LeBron, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan being Ric Flair and John Cena being LeBron. Is Ric Flair still the GOAT, or is it John Cena now because he has more titles?
Yeah, I heard the announcer call him Cena the GOAT because now he's got 17.
Yeah.
But who is the GOAT?
Well, for me, it's always going to be the man.
Yeah,
The Nate.
Is that the way it is for you guys?
I don't know.
I know you watch it every day.
Do you guys remember meeting him?
No.
Meeting who?
Ric
Ric Flair.
Oh yeah.
I remember being back there, but I don't remember.
You were there.
I remember being there, but I wasn't like, man, this is Ric Flair.
Ja boy.
Do you remember what he said?
What do you say? I don't remember what he said.
So tell the story how.
Yeah.
how we
So
met.
we're at the Alamo Dome, and this was when he was with WCW, and it was it was a Monday Nitro.
Yeah.
From the Dome. And it wasn't the full dome; it was the arena configuration. But still, it had 30-something thousand people in there. And we, some friends there at the Dome were able to, we're parked in the back, Lot A, so they escorted us out towards the back. And the guy who was the head of security at the time, who was escorting us out, me and your dad, and we had all you kids in tow, and he says, "Oh, Ric Flair's coming out. Would y'all take a picture?" And so I think he went up and he asked him. And he said, yeah, "Of course, And so we go and we had these cameras. We didn't have the phones at the time, so there were like the Instamatic cameras. You got to kind of, shoot, you're rushing, trying to get it set.
Yeah, this one.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember his Suburban is waiting, and
His jet.
Well, that was a line because he says, "Hurry up, boys! I got a jet to catch." I loved it. That was the typical. I mean, that was
he
his
stayed in character.
he was in character.
That's funny.
True character. But yeah, that was y'all's thing there.
Yeah.
I think Dean's heart was like.
Yeah.
He didn't know what was going on.
And that's the funny thing. Like for y'all that don't know, we're big wrestling fans, or at least we were. I still am right now.
Mine stopped when there's no more blood. They took the blood away. This is when I was what? I'm 29. This is when I was 11, 12.
Oh, we got.
That's when it.
Well, we have to take it into the South Side backyard wrestling.
I love that. So the
just went to
Woodlawn
one.
Gym.
He goes to
Woodlawn
that.
Gym.
He
You
goes
go
to
there. You go to the Lighthouse, and
Before
then
or after?
So I was there at the Lighthouse, in my neighborhood, and run into some
Shout out to
some
the
friends. Oh yeah, great place.
Yeah, it is.
Run into some friends, and we're like, oh hey, what's going on? What are you doing here? And they're like, oh, one of our friends is wrestling today. And sure enough, you look over because you can see the Woodlawn Gym across the street. And sure enough, you see these, these little rink-a-dink little guys jumping around with their pants are too loose on them, and their muscles haven't popped out yet. And but it was the most entertaining thing. There was probably a sold-out show of maybe 30 people in there.
Wow.
But it was like you felt like it was WrestleMania. Like they sold everything. I mean, it was just super entertaining. I mean, from there, intermission, you walk back to the Lighthouse, you come right back. It was a great night.
Did they
That's
bleed
awesome.
them?
They're bleeding. They're bleeding. They got the
That's
little.
probably real
They
blood,
cut
too.
them. They juice them.
Yeah.
But that was a fun experience. But I mean, I don't really follow this WWE stuff anymore. But I mean, they bring that. That's why this year, only reason why I knew was WrestleMania because Travis Scott came out, and I'm a
Right.
big Travis Scott fan. So I guess they're trying to
He helped John Cena
pull more
win,
pull
man.
more
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I know.
pull more fans, different demographics. So it worked on me.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, it's a business, and now the company that owns them, TKO, they own the UFC. They just bought AAA from Mexico.
Did you hear about them releasing Alberto Del Rio from AAA?
Oh,
Because they
did.
just bought AAA.
And they released him.
They released him. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they ain't gonna bring him in. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Insane, right? I mean, that you got the same business firing you twice.
Yeah, right.
They bought your business.
Well,
and
there's
fired
something
you.
there. That is more of a story that.
Of course.
Maybe
Y'all
we need to
know
get
it.
him on
If
the
y'all-
show
if
to
y'all are
talk
wrestling-
about it.
We should
man.
get him. We should get him on here.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I think I don't know. That's a question right there. That's a questionable call.
But TKO, man, it's I mean, shout out to them. I mean, they're they're venturing out now. Also, going to be doing boxing.
Yeah.
So they're doing PBR, professional bull riders.
What aren't they doing?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a growing company, man. They've got sky's the limit for them. They got a lot of smart people behind them, so and a lot of money. So we'll see what they do.
What's your favorite wrestler all time?
Oh, for
Who's
sure.
the GOAT?
Ric Flair, man.
And Nate.
Yeah.
What about you?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Texas
And
product.
that's the bottom line.
Yeah,
Texas
man,
product.
that was the best.
What about you? What do you think?
Lot of good guys out there. Some
Masas?
that I've met. Remember Eddie Guerrero hung out. I did a skit with Eddie Guerrero and
At a house show.
yeah, and then the Undertaker came and played in our golf tournament, and we hung out with him for a while. I talked to Chavo Guerrero a lot now, but I mean, there's so many good wrestlers. But I just Eddie Guerrero was just a good guy, good wrestler out of El Paso, and did a lot for the Hispanic community. Just I think he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a lot of people's.
Yeah,
He's the people's champ.
and he was
Yeah.
a good guy.
Yeah, he was.
Very
Man. He was a good
guy.
performer. I mean,
He trained at my gym probably about a month before he passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
We
that.
came and
man.
trained and we worked out and stuff. And then he was in New York. He went to New York, a few weeks later, and he passed away of a heart attack.
I remember that day. It was just like I was doing 2-a-days at Antonian football training camp. Come back from 2-a-days and got the announcement that Eddie Guerrero passed. It was just wow.
Yeah,
Like
it was crazy.
it was insane. I haven't just seen him or whatever. I haven't seen him in the ring with my dad, and then it wasn't a couple months after that.
Yeah, within a couple of months. Yeah.
It was insane.
Well, what's really cool is when you're in the, my business, a venue management business, and they come to your building. I loved it because I mean we've got some friends that work for the WWE,
yeah.
right? And it's always great seeing them catching up. But they have the best catering, man. They got Dega Catering. Shout out to Dega. An amazing job. It's unlike a tour type caterer, rock show type caterer. I mean, these guys, Dega, they go, everything's fresh. They go all out, breakfast, lunch, and dinners. The best food you've ever had.
Wow.
And not only just the food, but it's the little things. I mean, from little snacks, little things you would have in your house.
They got the little Debbies.
All the little, they think about
Star
the little
Princess.
stuff, man. It's
You got the Nutter Butters.
yeah. I always look forward to David catering, but then you get to see the whole setup and the whole 9 yards, and you know, I mean, they're all professionals, working professionals, and they got a storyline. They got a
What?
yeah. they're working
They're
on
in the background talking, hanging out. Let's go out there and
Yeah,
wrestle.
well, they are. I mean,
I mean, it's a show, right? I mean, they got.
it's a show, man. Yeah.
I think if I had to pick one guy, of course, I mean, I would love to go San Antonio product, Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? I would love to do that. I think arguably he's probably one of the greatest talents.
Without
right?
a doubt.
For me, if I'm putting my life on it, if I had to just pick one wrestler to see the rest of my life, it's gonna be Sting. Sting was just.
He was there at that show at the Alamo
He
Dome.
was, yeah.
He came down.
I have a bunch of like Polaroids from that thing that I just came across.
Wow.
NWO, Sting, red paint, all that stuff. But I think he kind of personified. I think of like Sting. I think of like me. Like that's like who I would have been. I would have wanted to be Sting if I was in the WWE.
That's cool.
Kind of like that's your character.
That's my character.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna just
Sting.
chill up there, and it's just like a looming like figure of like I don't gotta do shit, and you
Yeah,
know
right.
I'm here. Like just one of those like presents, you know.
Yeah.
Because remember back in the day when I was a kid, and y'all were taking us to Monday Nitro. Like it was like you got the Nitro girls, but then at the same time you were thinking of where's Sting? Like every kid was looking up at the rafters like where is he?
Where is he?
And I remember that just like where
Me
I'm
and your
trying to
dad are
spot
looking.
him.
Where's the Nitro Girls? Where's this?
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I remember looking up at the rafters like where is he? Like is he on the catwalk or where
He's gonna come out anytime.
he's coming out
Yeah.
somewhere.
Right,
It could be
yes.
at any point.
That I remember that, and you were doing that the whole time. You were just staring. James, watch the fight.
But where's Sting? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no. So then when NWO is coming out, I'm thinking, it's Sting now. Now he's going to come down somewhere. There's Hollywood Hulk Hogan. There's all these guys. There's the Wolf Pack, right? And
Pack.
so where's Sting at? Sure enough, you know, it was just it's a mind-blowing thing. It's just like, that's my guy. That's like who I feel is my guy. I almost wore a Sting shirt today.
That's
I wore it
cool.
on WrestleMania.
Yeah, you should have, man.
Yeah, I wore it on WrestleMania.
Did you
Saturday.
really? Did you
Yeah.
watch both nights?
I
or-
watched both nights. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a good product right now. You
It's a
know,
great
I
product.
think
They're doing a great job.
I think what's really carrying the business right now is the female talent.
Without a doubt.
Female talent is amazing right now.
Without a doubt.
You know, and they have so many things. They have WWE, NXT,
Yeah.
SmackDown, Raw's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
I just think that female talent is crazy. Rhea Ripley, bro.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, shout out.
No,
Shout out Rhea Ripley.
she might be the GOAT.
Yeah.
You know, when it's all said and done, I mean, she's a beast. She is super talented. She's
looks-
the
she
whole
reminds me-
package, man. The
Yeah,
whole
she reminds
package.
me, just watching her and kind of watching her move and like social media and stuff, she reminds me of the old school wrestlers that cared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That just,
Yeah.
it's more than a business. This is a
Yeah.
lifestyle.
She sells it well. And
She's always
She's all in.
She's all in. You know, even outside of it, you know, like you can see like
Dean still has her poster up on his bedroom
Yeah.
wall. I
I
saw
don't
that
even know
the
who
other
this
day.
is.
Rhea
Right?
Ripley. Yeah, she's a little. She's kind of newer in a way, but yeah, like you can just tell like people. You can tell like Eddie Guerrero had that same vibe where it was just like, and Ric Flair, right? You're not turning it off. Like this could be two kids here, but I'm gonna keep it in character. And that's just kind of what you see from her. It's like you can be in a massive crowd or just small, and she's that person. She's still Rhea Ripley, you know. And
Yeah,
it's
she
just
is.
it's cool to see that. But I think female talent is hot right now.
I'll leave you with one last Ric Flair wrestling story. So I'm managing the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi, and it's a big, and we had several SmackDowns and Raw shows from there. And one of them, in fact, was the day that Chris Benoit was found dead
Passed.
at his home with his family. And they had an entire script, a 3-hour show, and they shot some stuff during the day. It's supposed to be Vince McMahon's funeral.
Oh yeah.
They even took one of the meeting rooms and they made it look like a chapel. They had a coffin there. I mean, they're going all in on the storyline. And then all of a sudden, you just it got quiet. The energy got quiet. It was late in the afternoon. And they already shot a lot of stuff. A lot of the promos had already been shot, you know, the backstage stuff. And then some folks were working out inside the ring, some of the talent. And then there was a meeting. And then all of a sudden they call me and said, "Hey, can you come meet with us?" So I go to the back, and I was told that we're not going to let anybody inside the building. We're going to cancel this show. And it was a sold-out show. Whoa. And people already lined out, man. And this was really at the early stages of social media, man.
Yeah.
And so people already in line, they started looking at their phones saying, "Oh, my God, Chris Benoit's dead." And so they scrapped the entire show like that and ended up doing a tribute that whole night.
Yeah.
And Vince opened the show cold from the ring and kind of said what he said. And then, unfortunately, like a week later, it just, they had to completely
and now they
everything.
can't say Chris Benoit.
They can't. No, I mean, they just can't. But my Ric Flair story was, so it's a Monday Night Nitro, and there's a Suburban that pulls up, and Triple H is driving the Suburban, Ric Flair's on the passenger's side, and there's a big dude in the back. And my security guy is calling me because he says, "Mr. Solis, they're insisting on driving the Suburban inside the arena. We don't, once there's a show that's going on and load in, and we don't allow that vehicle to come on in." And but there's a line of kids and families all in the back. So they're watching everybody, taking out their cameras, and they want to see who's coming in and so forth. And so I go to the back, and I'm telling you, it's a black Suburban, tinted glass, and the window goes, zzz, rolls down. And it's the Nature Boy. And I'm like, humala. I go, "Mr. Flair, how can I help you?" Yeah, Mr. Flair, how can I help you? "Hey, kid." He calls me kid. Yeah. "Hey, kid, I've got a package in the back. I need to drop it off inside." And I didn't quite get what he was saying. And then
you could just hear him.
Triple H looks at me like this. He's on the driver's side. He's a big dude, man. And Nature Boy says again, "There's a package in the back. I got to drop it." And I'm thinking, is this something like illegal going to happen in here? I don't know what's going on. And then I kind of peek and I go, "Oh man." I go, "No problem." I tell the security, open up the door. We let him come on in. It comes out, it's Dave Bautista.
Oh, wow.
It's just a big dude. But they had this feud going on at the time. They didn't want to blow the storyline to all of the kids who were out there. The Batista, Triple H, Ric Flair are traveling. So Ric Flair gets out of the truck. Somebody else drives a Suburban. Triple H, Batista go to the dressing room. And Ric Flair comes around. He puts his hand around me. He says, "Hey, man, thanks for doing that." He says, "Is there anything I can do for you?" I said, Mr. Flair, I'd love to get a photo from you."
Mr. Rick.
Yeah, "Mr. Flair, I'd like to get a photo from you." And he says, "Absolutely. Come back here in 45 minutes. And he's in a suit. Let's do a quick photo, man. 45 minutes. All right. So at the 40-minute mark, I'm waiting back there, right? And it's actually me and Javier. And so sure enough, 45 minutes on the dot, he comes out, not in his suit, and he's not performing that night, but he comes out the whole Nature Boy robe to take a picture. And that's a pro right there, man. He was in full character, and that's one of my prized pictures, man.
For those of y'all that don't know, that's actually Mark's wallpaper on his phone. It was definitely an upbringing for me, WWE, wrestling, and all that for both of us. I'd say, there's times when
we're in front row. A lot of those.
We're in the front row, but not only that, when there's also there's WrestleManias and like No Way Outs and. Here, him and I wrestling, jumping off the couch and giving him one of these.
With your underwears.
Giving him
the people stuff.
Everything, you know what I mean? It was a good time.
It is. I think it's a moment in time for a lot of little kids and even adults. I mean, listen, it's a product, and somebody who's been a fan of it since I was a little kid, it's just kind of cool to see where it's at right now. And just because, we have friends that are in it, you're just kind of vested. You kind of want to see how this thing plays out.
I can't wait to go to the next show. I'm wondering when. I know they just came recently.
They're coming back again.
Yeah, I can't wait to go to the next one. It's a fun time out.
Yeah, but WrestleMania resets the stage. It's a new season. Yep. So new storylines, new this, new that. That's what it's about. So it runs. These storylines run throughout the whole year, and then next WrestleMania, some more storylines come out.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Anything to add about wrestling? WrestleMania, WWE, John Cena, 17-time champ.
Spurs in 5.
Spurs, yeah, we're looking forward to that for sure. Just finished the season actually, so thank you to all the Spurs, bro. Like, you know, Spurs putting in work. It's exciting to see what's going to happen this next,
back,
you know.
Wemby's back
next year for sure.
Just saw him playing soccer out there. Right?
Oh, you
see
did?
the footage playing soccer somewhere?
Yeah, you better get off.
Hey, so
Get
what's
off
the
real
deal?
quick.
What's the deal with the pick now, right? It was last week. They said something about Atlanta, but I didn't
So,
get into it a whole lot. So where are we?
You can just say about that.
I don't really know too much about it.
Yeah.
That's what I got to say about that.
tell.
Yeah.
The Spurs have rights to multiple picks in the first round. So, like, you know, and Atlanta's not one of the best teams. So if they get, if they're also in that running for one of the top picks, you know what I mean? Like one of the first picks. So we have a good shot of getting a really good pick. It's almost like if all of us were like kind of not in the best standing, and so we're going to get the first picks, but I have rights to multiple of y'all's picks.
That's so cool.
It's one of those things. We're definitely getting something. But I think we're all in on this Cooper Flag guy from Duke.
Oh, he's amazing. He reminds me a lot of Larry Bird.
Yeah. Yeah, Larry Legend.
Larry Loco.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's exciting to see where that's gonna go. There's a lot of things happening right now. You know, new pope, new champ, and John Cena.
I like the way you segued that one. Okay,
You know?
cool. All right.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for watching this episode of the Leija Lounge. We're trying to bring you some more content. Leave us a comment, see who you would like to do on the show. We got some pull, but we need some ideas. You know, let us know.
Alberto del Rio, man, that'd be good.
Yeah, you
or
never know.
Paige. Ooh, hear those stories?
Oh man, so I got to meet Paige.
I know she went to the gym several times,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, she went to the gym. I had the opportunity to train her a couple of times, but when she was dating
Albert.
No, when she was dating a lead singer from a rock band, Falling in Reverse, and the guy's name is Ronnie Radke. She was dating him, but the band that was on tour with them, I'm friends with one of the drummers of a different band who was on tour with them, and he invited me to go and, you know, hang out and all that. So I'm in we go with a couple of friends, and we're there in the waiting room almost, and there's Paige, right? She's there with her guy or whatever, and she remembered me. Like she remembered us. Like, oh yeah, I remember y'all. Whatever.
She's with you guys.
Yeah, like, you know, and I was just like, I'm on cloud 9 right now. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? And that'd be a cool one to get. That's a tough one. She has her own podcast now. She just started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. You never know.
Hey.
You know? Yeah, you never know. If you're watching, Paige, I'm all in. You know, I'm all in if you're in.
Come on out, man. We'd love to hear some great stories.
For sure. Thank you guys for watching this. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.
Oh, and our Fiesta edition coming up soon. Dean and I are going to be going live to the streets for Fiesta, man. We're going to be interviewing some people.
Y'all are doing that?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah,
Y'all
we're
going to
doing
be
it.
bringing the heat to the street.
Yep.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that, guys. Thanks for tuning in.